This is a continuation of the intro to Dreamweaver, and I have Dreamweaver CC opened right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to speed through what we did in the last screencast, and to get caught up where I can start working on some of the new things like linking. Okay, so I'm going to delete that. I'm going to go to what comment? Go to insert image and back to the folder, the Arlene folder. I'll just grab one of these. Which one doesn't really matter. Yes. Okay. So some of the things we were doing was changing some of the colors. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to change the background color. Come over here. If I grab the picker, I can change it to the exact same color as that. If I wanted to change these colors like before, in the last video, I know from looking over here, these nav sidebar 1. So I see navs visited. Hover meaning you have a mouse over. And I'll just go for this one and lighten up on that orange a little bit. Maybe by coming over here. Okay, so I'll check it out. Go to live. And that's okay. So I'm just speeding up here just to get caught up. I can't edit unless I go off of live. Come over here. I'm going to change the background of the content area. Being in the content area here. Over in the CSS, again, go over to background. Undefined background color. Maybe I'll go with kind of like a yellowy color. Like that. Okay, good enough. So, I'm going to save this as my index file. I want to save it in the same folder as my images, just to keep things from being too complicated. So here's instructions, and this is your H1. You know, here's your H2, here's your H3. So what I'm going to do now is I know I'm going to have links. So basically, either I could create a template here, or I could just take what I have here and save it as something else in the same place. So if I save this as about, now up here, notice I have index and I have about. I would change this just so I know when I click on it and the page changes that something is there to show me that there's been a change. Okay, so I'm going from the About page to the Index page. And I'm going to have the Index page go to the About page. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this heading so you know the menu item. I suppose I could do us. Now I come down here while I have this selected to the properties. And for target, I could do the same, or I could do new. I could do self, but I'm going to do new, which means it's going to open up in a new window. So we're in index, and we have our link put in about HTML, down here in the link, target new. It's saved, and we're going to go and preview in browser. So here's about us, and here's our new about page. So it's fairly simple as far as doing things like that. What I'm going to do is do one other fast page. I'll take index and I'll save it as mission. So here's our mission page right here. And change this so I know when the page changes that I've went to a new page, otherwise, and save. Otherwise, I'm not going to even know because I'll be going to the exact same page. So now what I'm going to do is go back to the index page. I haven't linked, I haven't went in here and changed any links yet or activated any links. I do have the about page going to about, but I don't suppose that's much good. But I'm going to go to the index page and I'm going to put in a mission. Come down to properties. I'll do target. I'll just do self, which means it's not going to pop out a new window. Make sure I save it. And all this is being saved in the same folder. And that really helps avoid a real lot of trouble, even with images. When you click on an image, the image is Arlene site, PNG. There's no path. There's no path to the image here, and that's the way it should be. So let's just check this again. Mission self. Okay, everything looks good. Now I'm going to preview in a browser. Safari. We're on the first page, instructions. There's about, and there's mission. Now we didn't pop a new window. So I can't go back to home except by doing this because I haven't made all the links. So one thing about this, doing it this way, is you might put all the links in and then make copies of the index page. This is a fairly small site, so make 5 copies with all your links working. That way you don't have to go into each individual page and create a link, which is kind of a little redundant. So the next thing I'm going to do is create a gradient background. There's a CSS command you can put in that'll actually do a background, a gradient. But the problem with that, you see it right here. I click on that, and these are terrible colors. So if I choose that as you're not going to see it until it goes. Seeing as it's CSS, you're not going to see it until it goes. Till you click on the live or you preview it in a browser. So now you see it. Those are actually terrible colors. The problem with doing it this way, you can go in and manipulate it to the colors you want. You can tell by looking at this, not background color, but you should have a background color if you do it this way, because a little bit earlier versions of Internet Explorer won't work with this type of a gradient. So what I'd do is in that event, I would just go to Photoshop here, and I would use the gradient tool, and it's right underneath the paint bucket. Click on the gradient, and I get to choose whatever colors I want. If I want to add, colors in the middle, I can do that. But what I want to do is change that color. And I'm just going to grab some kind of an orange. Or that kind of. This is probably going to look terrible, so I'm just doing this to show you what it's going to look like. Okay, so I have my gradient tool, and I'm just going to holding down shift so I do a straight line. Here's my gradient. So the background image I can repeat sideways, vertically, or horizontally. So I'll repeat this horizontally. So to keep the file size down, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut out a very small strip of this. Use the cropping tool. And just get a small amount of it because I don't need the whole thing. So the other thing too is you can see that this image, this gradient, it's going to go from a orangey color down into a kind of a grayish. So when it gets to the gray to the very end, it's going to all of a sudden turn into white for the white background. So what you want to do, so that doesn't happen, is figure out what the color is down here and make that as your background color. So it's like a seamless transition. So I just selected the color here. I came over here. Here's my color that I want. So I just do Command Copy. And I'm good to go. Save this, and I'm going to save it right in the same folder as Arlene, if I can find it. It's a starter. There it is. And I'm going to save it as not as a PSD, because that's not going to work. Save it for web and devices. Save it as a PNG or a JPEG. PNG's fine. You're always safe using a PNG. I'll call it okay. Now back to my. So the first thing I want to do is select the body. Go to the background color, and I want to paste in those numbers that we just got out of Photoshop. Oh, I didn't want to do that. Okay, so here it is. Okay, so we have our background color here, and what we're going to do now is make sure we're in body. Go to background color, which is also the background image, and we're going to navigate by selecting this. We're going to navigate to the background gradient, which is right here. Select it, comes in, and it looks pretty good. You have the special fine-tuning, I suppose you could call it here. If you notice, this means no repeat, so all you see is the actual image right there. This would be repeating it vertically, and this would be repeating it horizontally, which is what I'd want. So I'm going to save, then preview in a browser. So it looks pretty good. Colors don't look as bad as I thought they would. And like I said, you make that seamless transition into the background color. If that was white, it would just be like a drop off. So hope that helps. Thanks. Bye. So now we have background color here, which is the lightest gray. So the next thing is to navigate. First, go to the style. We're going to be dealing with the body, the environment fixed width sits in, and we're going to go to the colors, background color, which we already have. Now we're going to go to background image and just click this folder, and we'll find the background PNG I just put in. Open it up. Now if you come over here, you see you have these icons. This is a no repeat, and you see basically what your PNG looks like, and it seems to be working pretty good. But what I wanted to do is to repeat X, meaning horizontally. So go to live, see what it would actually look like, and it seems to work good. I'll check it in a browser, and it looks good. So that might be a good way to go, so you can get around any problems that you might have with some browsers that are not going to work with the CSS type of gradient. And it's actually pretty easy to do. So hopefully this helps. Thanks. Bye.